I'm Mel Stewart, and this is the SwimSwam Podcast. Joining me today is a luminary. Today, we have a four-time Olympic medalist, the most celebrated Olympian from the 1992 Olympic Games. Today, we have Summer Sanders helping us with our ongoing coverage and understanding of what just happened with the Olympic Games. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm awesome. I know it was a fun, different kind of Olympic Games. Wouldn't you agree, Mel?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that was a pause. It was a curious pause for me. Here's what I loved about the Olympic Games. I love the fact that I felt, from my perspective, silvers and bronzes were respected and beloved, really, most importantly, by the athletes who earned them and won them. And then subsequently by the public and the media more so. Right. I loved the fact that countries we had not heard of as winning medals from lane number one, hit the wall first and won gold. And there was pure joy and surprise. And it's what you long for in an Olympic Games, as opposed to somebody who's expected to win and touches the wall and sort of gives you this response of, oh, thank goodness. Right. I really genuinely loved all these shocking moments and pure the beauty of the Olympic Games. That's what I saw.
Well, describe your household's experience. Are you on the couch eating popcorn? Are you just like rolling media interviews all day long? What happened to you during the games?
Listen, Mel, I could not really get my family to watch the Olympic Games. I don't know what it was like in your house, but my kids are busy and there's a lot going on. And they would hear me cheering from down the hall. I'm out in the living room watching it. And both Olympic trials and the Olympic Games, I really tried to get them to come watch it with me a little bit more. I really liked having it as a family moment. And then I realized most all of the other Summer Olympic Games, we were there live. We were tasting it from the stands. We were cheering as we watched the people swimming right below with the smell of chlorine in our face. So it was different for them. And yeah, a few interviews and some jobs, of course, that I love surrounding the Olympics. But for the most part, it was me really taking in and soaking up the nighttime, prime time.
So this is a first for you where you weren't there. You've always been there?
No, 2008, I was not there because my son, Spider, was just 8 months old. But yeah, that's the only one, unless you go back to Winter Games. The Winter Games, there have been several that I haven't attended. I wish I could go back and go to Lillehammer. If there was one Olympic Games, right, that you could go back to and not compete in, but either work or be a fan, which one would it be?
I don't know. That was a hard question. I you know what? I was in Beijing. So for me, it was a religious experience. If, I'm not religious, but seeing what I witnessed in 2008 with Michael felt special. And that was meaningful, because I think that, you probably felt the same way following him from when he was a little kid in 2000 to the full blossoming of that 8-medal run. That was a unique experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super special. Yeah. But I'd want to play Placid. I'd want to see Miracle on Ice, right? I'd want to go back to society at that time. I mean, my God, you were looking at a mortgage that was 18%, gas lines forever. But I'd want to be there witnessing that moment. And then Lillehammer, I've just heard Winter Games. My husband's Winter Olympian, and Winter Games are just a little bit different. You got to be hardcore because you're standing outside and freezing and the glue vine is flowing and it's fun. So
did I misunderstand your question? You mean like one you didn't go to, any in history that you would like to go to? Is that what was that?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, 36, the Nazi Games.
Okay.
I would like to, I want to see a black man win all the medals in front of Hitler. I thought that what did they wear? Did they wear wool bathing suits? I can't remember. I want to see it. I'd like to be a fly on the wall.
Right. That would be amazing. And those moments in history. I agree with you.
So it sounds like you were working during this past Olympics and our most recent, but it's also chaotic because you're a mom and you've got things going on. And so were you alone on the couch? Were you eating popcorn? I have this image in my head of what the Sanders experience is like, and you're messing it up for me.
I'm sorry. Well, I do have to say that my friend Dina Gerson sent me a bunch of USA paraphernalia. So I had these USA sort of like party beads that you'd get from Mardi Gras, except for they say USA. So I had maybe 5 of them around my neck. I had, some USA, just, I don't know, decorations. And it was most times me. It was my mom. I had my mom with me for the month. So my mom and I would be there and we'd be cheering our heads off, even though we knew the results. We just loved watching it. We loved the expression when people touched the wall across the finish line, or lifted the bar over their head. I mean, when the Philippines won their very first Olympic gold medal, we were tearing up over the commercials. Are you kidding me? Jessica Long and her Toyota commercial. Every time. I don't know. It was fine that I was by myself with, and oftentimes with my mom. At Mel, my kids have schedules. My daughter's working. And she's not driving yet. So I need to pick her up from work, and sometimes work would end at 8. Well, that's right in the middle of prime time. So I would miss some of it and then we'd come back to it. And so it was a disrupted Olympic viewing experience, but I don't know. I soaked it up as much as I could.
I have to say this is completely off topic, but I want to say thank you for always being supportive of SwimSwam. During the pandemic, nothing's happening. And I'm like, what do we do? We got to talk to stars. And we talk to you, but here's the thing. You come up, you're on your phone. As you walked in, you're like, how you doing? We're hanging out. Now we're at the pool.
Yeah.
So
now we're at the pool. And look at I have my swimsuit on, but anyway, so I'm already, I love my Olympic Games, but I'm already gearing up for the next greatest season, which is the NFL season. And this is my Mafia is family, Buffalo Bills. So everybody can go and cheer for those Buffalo Bills. And then Mel, we're going to be on to the next Olympic Games in Beijing. Like all we have to do is pause for a moment. Everybody's going to be looking at the Winter Olympians that we all need to start cheering for. So we're not going to have a lull by any means. It's
going to be fast. And on the summer side, we have 2 quick world championships, and then we're off to Paris.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly fast. Let's bring it to swim a little bit. I know you watched it all. I know that you have transcended Olympic sports, and you are a lover of everything, and you've done television work, of course, for many, many decades, covering everything from entertainment to sports, but it's, let's bring it to swim. Was there one particular moment in swim that stands out for you?
Well, I was really excited for Caleb Dressel to get his shot to be a superstar. I think he's just a wonderful human being. I don't know if I've ever met him in person. If I have, we haven't spent a lot of time together, so it would have just been in passing. So I can't say I know him, but I do feel like I recognize him and I like who he is. And I thought, God, he deserves to have his moment. And it was beautiful, right? Everything he touched basically was gold, except for that. Let's talk about the co-ed relay and rework that a bit, right? But yeah, everything he touched was gold. And the way he authentically just wore his heart on his sleeve was really beautiful. And then I reminded a lot of people because, Mel, we have a short memory when it comes to Olympic Games. Even now, I said to my friend, she doesn't watch swimming, but she watched the Olympics. She's a huge Olympic fan. I said, could you name for me some swimmers? And she said Katie Ledecky and Caleb Dressel. And I was like, it is amazing how quickly, and that's something we can touch on later too, how quickly these names sort of fade from our memory. But I knew those 2 would stick with people. And I think Caleb sticks with people not only because he won. I think it's the way he won and everything that he did and his beautiful family and his wife and all of that love. And you really could feel how hard it was for him. And he even said it was such a tough year, which then just made everyone relate to him. I don't know. I I think I was most looking forward to him shining. And then I was so glad that he really did.
So don't interrupt me, but I'm
I
going
won't.
to call it. I'm going to say it. Caleb Dressel is the Summer Sanders of the 2020 Olympic Games. And here's why. I was your peer, and this is what I see in common. I think you guys are kindred spirits. Amazingly talented, someone who's eternally positive. You get the sense that they're projecting this positivity, sense of team. There's a kindness to him that I really love. But you can see that he's a competitor. He's out there to win, but he's holding back all the stresses and the strains and the pressures. It's like you can tell he's holding it back, but it's obviously there. Which was your experience? I've witnessed you under a lot of stressful moments, but you were still summer. You were still like, I'm still shiny, still summer. Caleb's very similar. But I do think we saw a little more emotion from him because we're coming off of a pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's beautiful to see, right? That raw, real, authentic emotion is, everyone needs to see it. It was just, I was appreciative that he really showed that. And it sort of leads into the conversation that Simone Biles opened up, right? And that I'm really glad people are talking about it. And you just mentioned it right here. Our Olympic Games was 1992, Mel. Cell phones weren't invented. Internet was like what maybe on, I don't know, World Wide Web was just coming out or something. Let's go back into the history books and see when it was actually available for everyone. So all the pressures that I had were really put on myself and the media lead up, frankly, right? And I had qualified for 4 individual events and a relay. So do the math, and we're awesome, the United States of America. And so we think, okay, well, she has a shot at gold in all of them. She's expected to win 5 gold medals. And so I knew in my heart of hearts, as did probably anyone on my team, meaning coaches and anybody from US Swimming, knew that would probably be a long shot. But the more you hear it, the more you think, well, maybe I could win 5 gold medals. Oh, maybe. Right. So when I hop out of the water and the first question is, oh, you must be so disappointed. You're right. I did have this like positive shell around me, and I kept that positive shell up as much as I possibly could. But, they little chinks in it, little dents, little cracks each time they asked, you must be so disappointed. So I did say this is the new conversation that people ask me and that I get to talk about after these Olympic Games, is that experience specifically. And I get to say authentically, if I could change anything about my experience, it would be those expectations of myself and being bold enough to sort of almost be shame on you for asking that I'm disappointed with a bronze medal and an American record, or a silver medal and an American record. And because I let all of that sort of seep into my little armor, my positive armor, and chinks and the holes and the cracks. And so by the time my last race rolled around, that 200 butterfly, and I won, I touched the wall. I turn around, I see the one next to my name. The first emotion I had was relief. And I always think, what a shame. That's why I love these moments of pure joy. Just joy. I blew my mind. I can't believe I just won this race. This is amazing. Those are the moments that I soak up, because I sort of wish I had that. I wish that my experience was the pure joy of winning, as opposed to the relief that I haven't once again let people down.
I wish I'd cried and not fought it to hold it back. I could go back to that younger self and punch him in the face and go, let it go. The interesting there, that is correct. There's a whole lot of context. We talked about it in the last podcast, but the silver and bronze, maybe they should have been different colors. But you had an astounding Olympics. I thought your performance was extraordinary, and yeah, everyone was relieved when you won, because it's like, look, this feels right, and we knew this should be the case. But there was collective relief on the team. Everyone's like, Summer needs to leave here with an individual gold medal. She deserves it. Yeah, I think everybody felt that. All your peers felt that cared about you. But let me bring this to your attention. You're talking about the emotion and of a silver and bronze medal, and it should be celebrated. Ledecky went the 400 free, and she won a 3:57.2 against an astounding swimmer, Ariane Titmus. And I remember the questions, and I didn't like the questions she was being asked because I kept saying to my wife and my daughter, I'm like, she won a 3:57.2. She's happy with that swim. She's entirely happy and fine with her medal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was getting a little bit emotional about certain the way things play out. But that's typical of television, which you understand.
Yeah. Well, because glory is beautiful. And once you achieve glory, it's really hard for people to digest how difficult it is for an Olympic athlete to do it again and do it again and do it again. I mean, it's becoming much more the norm than the one and done, as I like to claim myself. I went to one games, and really, I don't know if I had the stomach to want to do it again. I loved my Olympics, but did I want to put myself through that again? Obviously I didn't make the team, I made a comeback and it didn't work out. And in that moment, it was when I actually appreciated everything about 92, my teammates, the city, like how beautiful that games was, the very beginning of NBC's tenure, and how still kind of pure and fun it was, not overly produced. But yeah, I think when you look at Katie and the way she handled everything, I really wish she didn't have to handle everything. We knew that race was going to be really tough. In fact, she wasn't favored in that race, but again, we hope and we put her on a pedestal, but she really reminded us that there's more to this, right? And that relationship and that response that Katie had, and their relationship, and how like pure and beautiful just for the sport it was. I am so proud of Katie Ledecky, and it has been such a joy to watch her grow up. I have just loved to be on that team, to be on Team Ledecky. It's been really fun.
You couldn't help it. I heard a little bit of swim nerd come out several minutes ago. It might have been 5 minutes ago.
What'd I do?
And the mixed medley relay. I want to ask your comment. But first, I gotta add this context. After that event, my phone started blowing up. I don't know if your phone started blowing up. My phone started blowing up. But the person who called me the most was probably, and only because I've been talking to him so much since the pandemic, was Mark Spitz. I've been talking to Mark, just, hey, what's going on with you, buddy? How you doing?
Yeah.
But a lot of people had a lot of opinions about how that should have gone differently. Do you have an opinion on the mixed medley relay?
Yeah. I mean, I knew our deficiencies, right? I mean, it's great to have a guy who rules all the sprint events, but then when it comes to the mixed relay, it's not great. So where do you put Caleb? That's the number one thing. Do you finish with Caleb? Is he your anchor leg? Right? But do you finish? So do you want the lead? Do you want the lead? And then, and also, here's what I loved about it. It was so beautiful. I love female sports. I love women's sports. I think we are amazing. But did you see the difference between a woman racing a man, right? Head to head. When I watched that relay, I was like, oh, wait a second. Somebody totally slipped on the start because the guys swimming backstroke were so much further ahead than the women. So there are variables you have to consider here, right? When is it, what position is it the worst to have that kind of wake to swim into? Like, when do you want to be behind? What stroke is it the least destructive to have to swim into that wake? I haven't figured it out. I want to hear, because you're the full swim nerd. I just knew I wanted to be, I think I wanted the lead going into the final leg. And that's hindsight, is 2020. So how would you put it?
I don't have a Stanford education. I don't have, when it comes to math, it's bad.
Give Tennessee some credit, all right?
Okay. I understand simple math.
Yeah.
But my response to this has always been a gut response, which is, I believe that relays, specifically on the Olympic stage is about getting out in front and staying out in front and hanging on to the lead. And you bank on your sense of pride and sense of being a teammate and hanging on to that lead. But I do think that relays, particularly at the Olympic Games, is about getting the lead and staying out of the rough water. And I know a lot of people didn't want it to be Ryan Murphy, Michelangelo on the breaststroke because they felt Michelangelo's breaststroke was going to be a little bit weak. They didn't know what to expect. But I would have gone with Murphy and Michelangelo, or I would have gone Murphy, Lydia Jacoby breaststroke, Ryan, Caleb Dressel butterfly, and Zach Applefree. But I do think that the pool is so extraordinarily wavy. Yeah.
So that's the physics of it, right? I think it's great. I love the race. I love the fact. I loved the team part of it. Did you love doing relays? I say this to every club. Every club should have Friday relays. It should just be mandatory, if for no other reason that you got to see the influence of an NCAA swimmer. When somebody swims collegiately, you know how to do relay exchanges. That one relay exchange, who was it? Where, I mean, I was sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, he false started. That was the closest relay exchange I've ever seen.
Pretty sure it was Zach Apple.
Yeah, right. And then in the end, they actually,
I think it was the first relay. Yeah. It was the first relay. Actually, Braden Keith wrote a piece about this, and it was and his title of this thing was that we can no longer say that just because we do NC2A sports that makes us a greater relay nation. And he compared everyone's exchanges, but I think that it had a lot to do with the fact that we weren't a sharpened knife and that we hadn't raced as much as we had in the past, because we lived through a pandemic. Yeah. So
did you go to any of the training camp? Did you see how many relay exchanges they were doing at the training camp?
I didn't, but everybody was asking me that, and I didn't have any intel, but it was everyone has lots of opinions. Our peers have many opinions about that relay.
Yeah, well, it was fun. And you know what? Now they're going to be fired up in Paris to get it right. And who knows if they'll get it right, because they're not just competing against, the exact same scenario in the lanes next to them. The lanes next to them could totally shake things up and mess with them. And it's how you match up, and it's how physics plays into the movement of the water and the rush of the water and all of it. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was great. I loved all the mixed stuff.
I wasn't a fan of the mixed medley relay until we lost.
And now you're a fan because you want to get better?
Now there's drama. Now this is a part of the Team USA narrative, and it matters. But I just appreciate that. I grabbed you, and within 25 minutes, I pulled out a little bit of swim nerd, and I'll call that a win. I don't want to hold you too long. Are there any of the moments at the Olympics? I mean, you alluded to our Tunisian winning, Ahmed and the 400 free. That was exciting from lane 8. Any other moments for you that stand out?
No, I think the only thing that stands out is continuing the conversation. And I challenge you with this, continuing the conversation of mental health with our Olympians. It goes back to that narrative and that idea of my really good friend who loves the Olympic Games. We live in a ski town, but she couldn't name the swimmers, 2 days after closing ceremony. And I was on another podcast with Melissa Rivers, and we were talking about this. And I just sort of reminded the friends of Olympians, the best thing you can do for them right now is to continue to invite them to normal things, right? Invite them to a barbecue. Tell them, don't bring your medal. Just come to the barbecue. Let's just hang out. Continue to provide a foundation of just daily life for them, to give them a reminder, not that they all would need this, but a reminder of why they matter and who they are. And it has nothing to do with their performance in the Olympic Games. That's wonderful. That's awesome. But the thing that's going to keep their mental health in check and the strength of their mental health every single day, it really comes down to who cares about them, who loves them, and why they matter. And why they matter has nothing to do with the medals around their neck. So I challenge you with continuing to check in. I challenge you with continuing to talk about the Olympic blues, that they're very normal when you come back from an Olympic Games. I describe it as, imagine your favorite Christmas and you're 10 years old and you've been looking forward to Christmas morning for 364 days. And then Christmas morning happens and you race through opening up all your presents, and then it's over. And you've got to wait another 365 days for your next greatest day of your life. And multiply that by a million. And that's, the weeks and the months after an Olympic Games, whenever it hits an athlete, when the hoopla settles down and you try to figure things out. And specifically with the swimmers, because they don't have a professional team that they're going to, unless, I don't know if International Swimming League is happening right now, but they don't have this professional league. They're not heading off to their next soccer match. World Surfing League is in Mexico right now. They've got their next contest happening. So we don't have that. So check in with your swimmers, right? Invite them out to dinner, do normal stuff. And don't forget, they're just regular people that just happen to win a few medals.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam Podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam Podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.